Good evening and welcome to the High Horror Society.
Yo.
We are your hosts, Zach and Kyle.
Kyle here.
Kyle's there.
What's up,
And-
everybody?
Not much. How are you? And tonight we watched the Italian horror classic 1985's Demons, or Demone,
Demone.
if you want to stick to the Italian title. And we'll get into talks about titles, let me tell you, because this is pretty confusing when we start getting into it. There are interesting things you can do with the copyright laws when
Oh, really?
you don't distribute films in America and like you
Oh.
have a bunch of underground stuff going on. So we'll get into it, but
Sweet.
it's interesting. Yeah. So Demons, directed by Lamberto Bava, who's also the assistant director on Cannibal Holocaust, Inferno, Demons 2, and Delirium. Demons 2, I hope we'll be able to watch next week.
Hopefully.
Yeah, it'll be
cool.
really fun. It was produced by Dario Argento, who obviously famous horror director. I don't think we've watched any of his movies, but
Oh,
he did a bunch of horror movies. He like pretty much invented a genre of like this Italian horror thriller
Oh, cool.
genre. And he one of his trilogies, he has the Animal trilogy, which I've never seen any of the movies from, and then the Three Mothers trilogy, which is Suspiria, Inferno, and The Mother of Tears. All classic horror movies. I've only seen Suspiria, and I saw it back in high school. I honestly don't remember
I've never seen
much
any
of it.
those.
It was recently remade, and apparently the remake is really good. My brother
Nice.
Connor saw it. He said it's amazing.
Okay,
So
cool.
probably maybe time to dust off the old one and then
Might as
pop
well.
in the new one and see.
Let's do it.
Let's
I
see
haven't
how they
seen
are.
any of them, so I'm
Yeah.
down. I'm down.
And then the movie is starring a bunch of Italian actors or German actors who I'm about to butcher your names, and I
Sorry.
apologize in advance, but you're not listening to this anyway, so who cares? Urbano Barberini as George, Natasha Hovey as Cheryl, Bobby Rhodes as Tony, my man Tony. Oh, he was the smartest guy.
He was
He
until
really was.
until things went down for Tony.
Carl Zinni as Ken, Paula Cozy as Kathy, Fiore, Fiore Argento as Hannah. I don't know how to pronounce that, but that's the producer's daughter,
Oh, cool.
Hannah, the one that got barfed on.
Oh God, poor Hannah.
And the one that turned in the vent. Remember, she turned. But that was
She
the
got
producer's daughter.
Cool.
Greta Giancarlo as Rosemary, our favorite.
Okay.
and
Crazy
then,
old Rosemary.
Michael Sauvé as the masked man.
Okay.
He was also the character in the movie within the movie.
The Inception guy.
Yeah, the Inception guy. And he was also the assistant director on this movie too, I believe.
That's pretty. That guy's got
He
big
has
roles.
quite.
He's a busy
dude,
boy.
He pops up a lot in this research.
Nice.
I just want to start it off. Like, I always thought this movie was the Italian Evil Dead. I read that somewhere on some internet forum many, many years ago, and I took it to heart as fact. And with researching this, I found out that that's not the case. And actually, there are several Evil Dead knockoffs from other countries.
Oh, really?
That just got this title. And again, it kind of goes. We'll talk about it later on. But this copyright law stuff is kind of sketchy overseas. So
yeah,
it's kind of hard to make people that don't live in your country
of
pay
course.
for your
Yeah,
title, right?
It's probably
So
the same with music too. So
Yeah.
I mean,
it's interesting. We'll talk
Yeah.
about it, but I thought that was one of the more interesting parts of this, and there are tons of titles and sequels that we'll get into. But the synopsis of Demons is: a group of random people are invited to a screening of a mysterious movie, only to find themselves trapped in a theater with ravenous demons. And this movie has two taglines. So
Ooh,
two.
does.
The one they repeat in the movie. This is the one she reads off of Nostradamus' tomb.
God,
It says they will make cemeteries their cathedral. God damn it! They will make cemeteries their cathedrals, and cities will be your tombs. So I butchered that. Sorry. They will make cemeteries their cathedrals, and the cities will be your tombs.
I like that though.
I like that.
It's kinda
It's kind of
spooky.
ominous and spooky.
Yeah.
This next one just. This next tagline is more fitting to the movie. Is their evil becomes an orgy of bloodshed.
All right, the orgy.
A little more. I'm
Bloodshed.
going with orgy one if I have to choose one that would fit the
Oh,
tone of
man.
the movie better.
Yeah, definitely. There's a lot of jumping on each other and
The jumping and barfing and the tearing
the
each other's skin
fluids
off.
flying around.
Lots of fluids flying around. It was,
Okay.
yeah, it was a little upsetting at times. I'm not easily
Yeah.
upset, but
Yeah.
it's been a while since
like-
I watched this. I think the last time I watched this, I watched it with our friend Bruce on VHS.
Good old Bruce.
Good old Bruce, many years
What's up,
ago.
Bruce? We know you're watching.
What's up, Bruce? What's up, buddy? So anyway, jumping into our fun facts. So Dario Argento had an important influence on this movie. In addition to co-writing the script, he also produced the film. His daughter plays the character of Hannah. So those are two little fun facts for you. Michael Sauvé, who is a devotee of Argento. Again, this is the masked man, the guy who
Okay.
shows up in the movie. He worked as the assistant director on several Argento's films and also served as the assistant director on Demons. And he has the two starring roles, obviously the man wearing the silver mask and as Jerry. Jerry is the name of the character within the
Jerry.
movie. So there
Jerry.
you go. The film playing at the Metropole. And then there's Nicoletta Elmi, who plays the usherette, I think the redhead chick.
Okay. Yeah.
She appeared in Argento's 1975 classic Deep Red, which I also never saw. And she had a small role in the 1971 film Twitch of the Death Nerve, who's directed by Mario Bava, who's the father of the director of Demons, Lamberto Bava.
Damn.
So nice
got the
little
whole family
roundabout
thing
thing there. So
Grandpa, dad, and daughter.
something,
Nice.
yeah. Grandpa.
Well, from the girl, right?
The daughter. So the daughter is the producer's daughter.
Oh.
Hannah was the producer's daughter.
Okay.
And then
the director.
the redhead was in a movie who was directed by the father of the
Gotcha.
guy who directed Demons.
I mixed all those people up.
That's okay. There's a lot of names.
It's my
here.
first time.
There's a lot of things
it's
going
my first
on.
day.
It's all right. We'll settle down here. Most of the interior shots of the cinema were shot in an actual closed-down movie theater, and apparently the building still exists to this day, and it is a
Nice.
bank.
Oh.
Yeah.
Sweet.
The building used for the exterior shots of the movie theater still exists. It is apparently a club called Goya, and the appearance, its appearance in the film has brought it a lot of fame. And apparently, the club hosts a lot of horror conventions to this day.
Nice.
Yeah, so that's
That's
kind of cool,
perfect.
owning the title, and they have the horror conventions there, which is great. They host them regularly, so that's pretty cool.
Nice.
Filming of Demons took place in July of 1985 in Germany and Italy. As a reference to those countries, the posters in the cinema, they showed Warren Herzog's Nosferatu, and then Argento's Four Flies on Gray
Yeah.
Velvet. Man, they're so much better at titles than we are in the States
Way
here.
better.
4 Flies on Gray Velvet. That is a cool
That
title.
was pretty cool.
And they can be singing in the they could be seen hanging in the lobby of the
yeah.
theater
Next to the AC/DC posters.
next to the AC/DC poster. I
Saw
noticed
those.
that too. That was amazing. Demons was released theatrically on October 4th, 1985 in Italy, so a day after my wife was born. That's pretty crazy.
Nice.
How fun is that? That is a fun fact for you, Laura.
Fun fact.
The film was followed up by, get this, 8 sequels. I
8?
bet you never even heard of Demons 1 and 2.
No.
I knew of there was Demons 1, 2, and 3, and this is
Okay.
where we start getting into the craziness of this shit.
Of
'cause it
course.
is-
Once you go beyond 3, I mean, geez.
yeah. So there are apparently 8 sequels to
Wow.
Demons, most of which are sequels in name only. So like they tag the name Demons onto it.
Oh, okay.
And that began with Demons 2 the following year in 1986. So the sequels. So there's the original title, the English title, and then the alternate title.
Oh, nice.
So Demons 2, the English title is Demone 2. Okay,
All
that's it. No alternate title there.
Sweet.
Then there was Demons 3, the Ogre, which has an alternate title of The Ogre Demons 3, House of the Ogre, or La Casa del Orco from 1988.
I like that.
There is The Church, which is Demons 3, which is I always thought was Demons 3.
Okay.
But I will get into that too. That's kind of a funky story too, which is La Chisa in Italian. I'm probably butchering all these. I apologize.
It's all good.
Then there was a third Demons 3 called Black Demons.
Oh,
So that we have 3 Demons 3. We have the
Jeez.
Ogre, we have the Church, and Black Demons.
okay.
And that was Demone 3. And then there was the Devil's Daughter, also known as Demons 4 or La Setta. Then there was the Mask of the Demon, which is Demons 5, the Devil's Veil, which is in Italian is La Maschera del Demono.
Hmm.
That was in 1989. Then the Black Cat, which is Demon 6 from the Deep, and that is La Gato Nero. So the Black Cat. I know those words. And
I know
then
those were-
Cemetery Man, which I've actually seen, believe it or
Cemetery
not, and I had no idea it was sort of related. But Cemetery Man from 1994 is alternate title is Demons 95.
Okay.
Awesome.
Sweet.
Yeah. And that the Italian title is Della Morte dell'Amor, so Cemetery Man. And there, you just learned some Italian,
Wow.
apparently, or
Let's-
whatever language it was
Let's
I
go
was
to
speaking.
Italy.
Let's go. We're
Yeah.
ready. We are ready.
We're ready.
So yeah, as you noticed, there are 3 movies titled Demons 3. So let's talk about those. So the Demons 3, the Ogre, the Church, and Black Demons are all referred to as the third Demons film. And depending on where you are in the world, they have those different titles, and all 3 of them are not related at all.
Not at all.
Not at all. And they actually the only one.
Why?
The only one that actually really closely relates to demons is the Church. And this is, I always thought that the Church was the third one.
Okay.
And we'll talk about that here. So the Church is considered the actual sequel to Demons because it was written by Dario Argento and Franco Ferrini. They're part of the team who wrote the first 2 Demon movies.
Okay.
And this was the Church was supposed to be a proper sequel to those 2 movies, and it was supposed to be the one that ended the series. The director of the Church, this Michael Sove, the Masked Man and Jerry from
Okay.
the movie, in the movie,
Yeah.
he directed the Church, and he wasn't too keen on the idea of making another Demons film. So the film was rewritten to remove any connections to the narrative or mythology. But you can see it though. Like when you watch the movie, there are many elements of it that are pretty similar to this movie here.
That's good.
So, yeah.
I mean,
It-
at least you try to follow that a little bit.
Right,
Not
right.
too much.
So
Veering
sorry, I'm
off.
adjusting my headphones here. The reason why so this Michael Sove guy, he has 2 movies that are totally unrelated that got this Demons title, and apparently this all has to do with copyright laws. So
Oh, of course.
overseas, basically what they do, and to help sell a movie, is they'll just slap another title onto it from something famous,
Of course.
and then they'll try to push it at that. And,
Yeah.
I was actually, while I was reading up on this, apparently Evil Dead has like 10 sequels as well.
Oh,
Because
man.
Evil Dead is just called La Casa overseas, and so they just everything is La Casa 7, La Casa 8. It's just like whenever we do Evil Dead, we should look at all of those because
I'm down.
it's very similar to this, where it was just these crazy titles where they just shove the word demons into it or Evil Dead into it, and like here's a new movie. So this Michael Survey guy, he wrote and directed 2 movies, The Church, which got determined as Demons 3, and The Sect from 1991, The Devil's Daughter, which is considered Demons 4 by this list that I copy and pasted from Wikipedia. So yeah, copyright laws are really sticky overseas. They can do some weird things to help sell a movie. Apparently, Japan is one of the worst. They're pretty
really?
bad with when it comes to the sequels. and
Damn you.
Just shoving the names in there.
Yeah, whatever.
But either way, Demons and Demons 2 are the 2 official films in the series. So there is some debate whether Black Demons or The Church should be considered in those. Personally, I consider The Church the third one, and if we ever get around to watching it, you'll see
Yes.
why. It's very similar in tone, and it's just a little bit. It's not as crazy, over the top, gory, demon infesting like Demons is,
Oh.
or Demons 2.
That's what I
So-
liked about this one.
This begs the question: will we ever see a Demons 3? Will we
Uh,
ever see a Demons 3? Well, luckily in 2016, Kyle, one of the filmmakers had something to say about that.
Oh, geez.
He said, "We all wish Italian horror could return again, but we know how unlikely that is. We have been speaking about a new Demons movie for a short time now. Dario Lamberto and myself, maybe a 3D version of Demons, a remake that features the original crew." He goes on to say, "We go to our conventions across the world and people remember our work. So there's an audience out there for a new Demons movie. We're all sure of it." So
I think so.
that was from 2016.
2016.
Haven't heard shit about Demons
2
3
years.
since then, but hey, that doesn't
Maybe
mean
this
it's not
podcast
happening.
will remind them. Oh yeah.
How awesome would that be if this is what
we trigger.
catapults Demons 3 into production?
We can do it.
I want that on my tombstone. I want that. Helped get Demons 3
right next to
made.
Nostradamus.
Right next to Nostradamus' grave. That's where I want to be buried. So one of the so that's all the craziness with the titles, and yeah, so 8 sequels. The only 2 that have anything to do with anything are Demons 1 and 2. The Church is loosely related just because it was directed by the guy who assistant directed Demons 1 and 2, and he starred in them. So, the soundtrack. Is another major kind of cult aspect of this movie that a lot of people love. So the soundtrack, it features a lot of 1980s heavy rock and heavy metal bands.
Mm-hmm.
The sequel has a slightly more pop synthwave, new wave oriented music to it. One interesting thing about the soundtrack is it was performed for the film's 30th anniversary at Shock Pop Comic-Con.
Oh, cool.
Shock Pop Comic-Con in February 2015, so just a couple
Shock
years
Pop.
ago. And the soundtrack features Billy Idol, Accept, Motley Crue,
Mhm.
Claudio Simonette, Rick Springfield, Pretty Maids, Go West, The Adventures, and Saxon. So I've only heard of Billy Idol, Accept, and Motley Crue, and Rick Springfield, I think.
Yeah, everything else I never heard of either.
I don't know. I'm terrible with my 80s
Oh,
metal.
well.
I'm sorry, guys. I'm not an 80s metal guy.
And that
And-
Motley Crue one, it must have been like a really old, like first album song because it was not popular Motley
Yeah,
Crue.
no.
I could tell it was Vince Neil singing. I'm like, this is some old school Crue.
Not the right thing.
Old school.
The director of this movie, he cites this as one of his personal favorite films that he's directed. So,
Nice.
this
think
is a little interesting
I think it's pretty
tidbit.
good.
In Germany, this was released as the sequel. Demons 1 was released as Demons 2, and the first one was released as Demons 1, which is
Huh.
kind of interesting. I don't know.
That's they always do everything backwards, don't they?
And you know, if you watch Demons 2, and we'll watch it probably next week, hopefully. You'll
Hopefully.
see the movies don't really follow each other. It's
Okay.
more of like Demons 2 is just a rehash of Demons 1. Like everything kind of plays out the same. I won't
Okay.
spoil it for you, but
Well, you
yeah,
kind
sorry.
of.
I mean, Jesus
the
Christ, what do you
ending-
expect?
The ending didn't really. I mean, should we
How
just,
cool would that be to see a sequel to that, though?
I was gonna
The
say,
world, like taken
that's what
over
I
by those
expected for the
demon
second
things. That
one.
would be so cool. I would love to see a movie like that.
So the second one isn't like that.
No,
Man.
it all takes place in an apartment complex,
Huh.
which is kind of sad because I would love to see maybe the third Demons movie will be the world's taken over by demons. That
Maybe
would be
we
pretty
should
great.
move to one of these countries, do our own demons, and go off the first one since we can copyright the title.
We
We don't
maybe
have to copyright the title.
no, we don't. Especially if we go
It's
overseas, we
perfect.
could just throw whatever crap on there we want. So the blind man in the theater was kind of put in as an ironic joke for the movie. I thought it was funny
It was
too.
pretty funny, yeah.
I loved how the little daughter was like explaining to him, and he's like, "Are they scared?" And she's like, "Yes." And he's like, "Liz,
And then
are
disappears.
you scared?" "Yes, I'm scared." And then the daughter's boyfriend shows up, and
Start
the poor
making out.
blind father
Oh
is
my
sitting there trying to listen to this movie, and
yeah.
his
She's
daughter
hot.
is out making out with some guy behind the curtain, like,
Jeez.
and he's yelling for her, and she just keeps making out, and then they get strangled
Of
by a
course.
demon.
See, that's what you
See,
get.
you have sex, you die.
See,
That's what happens. The name of the cinema, the Metropole, as it's seen on the building, can be seen in the first Silent Hill game, and
oh really?
yeah, I saw a screenshot of it. It's the same logo and everything.
That's
so,
pretty sweet.
Yeah, it's kind of cool.
Nice.
Nice little nod there. And one of my favorite new movie scenes was was
can
actually
already
taken out of the movie, and I'm glad
Oh, man.
we had it in this version because I honestly I think the VHS version I watched many years ago with our friend Bruce, I don't think it had this scene in it.
Oh.
So we watched this movie on Shudder, which is like a Netflix streaming service for horror
Pretty
movies.
sweet. Check it
And
out.
I think this is the I don't know what cut of the movie this is because apparently there's a ton of alternate versions of it.
Hmm.
But this one had this scene. So the scene was once removed. It was censored from almost all over the world, which it was back. But it's the scene in the car where they drop the cocaine and they're picking it back up. And obviously the controversial scene is
Of course.
where he's picking it up off the girl's chest with the razor blade, and he's like caressing her nipple with the razor blade.
Yeah, pretty
It's
weird.
very awkward. It wasn't once, it wasn't twice, it wasn't 3 times. Just seen this one on
They
for
kept on going.
an uncomfortably long
Yeah.
time, stroking her nipple with this razor.
There's a lot of lip
And then
biting
he
and
cuts her. And so
cuts her in the-
and right when she starts getting turned on by it, he cuts her with
Oh my
it. So
God.
it was a fucked up scene. I don't know what the hell they were.
Yeah,
They're
we were
all
both
coked
like,
up.
how long is this gonna go for? Like,
But yeah,
this scene.
they were doing cocaine that was inside of a Coke can through a straw, and they were passing it back and forth in
Pretty
the car.
clever.
It was pretty clever. I was like, that is an interesting way
Coke
to
in a
hide
Coke
coke.
can.
Yeah. So that scene was included in this version of the movie that I watched, something new that I had never seen before and hopefully won't ever see again. But some of the alternate versions of it, we talked about that a little bit ago. UK cinema and video versions are cut by 1 minute and 5 seconds with edits to the eye gouging, the hand being mutilated, and the wheel of the motorcycle.
Oh yeah.
The demon vomiting on Hannah, close-ups of the women's teeth falling out. That was uncomfortable. I
that
love
was
that.
yeah. All of her teeth.
That was
Like
great.
what the fuck?
And they showed him pushing, and then the fluid just shooting out, and it was awesome.
Oh man.
So yeah, close-ups of her teeth falling out, and her transformation into a demon scene, and the cocaine scene, the cocaine where it scraped off the woman's breast with a razor blade. Some cuts were restored in the 2000 release, minus 42 seconds for the cocaine scene. The Platinum DVD released at the same time mistakenly featured the uncut print. So
Mistakenly.
it has that scene in it, and the cuts were fully waived in 2004 and reissued as the director's cut Platinum DVD. So we must have watched the director's cut.
Yeah. Nice.
Which is great. The film was shot on a budget of $1.8 million.
Ooh,
I did
quite
not
a budget.
find any any numbers on how much it made,
Okay.
so I couldn't verify that. So some of the oopsie daisies.
Oopsies.
And I did not read any of these beforehand, except the first 2 when we were testing
we
sound.
can switch on and off if you want. We can switch reading.
Reading.
First
you want to
2.
read them? You want to read some?
No, you can go first.
No, go ahead.
You go first.
All right.
You go
The
first.
first one, and I don't remember who this was. It's the demonic Carmen was never seen in the film again after killing Frank. So everybody's trapped inside. There are a lot of moviegoers to slaughter, but where did Carmen go? Carmen, I think, was the second girl who got turned. So not Rosemary,
Oh,
but the girl
yeah.
after.
Yeah,
what, who
she was
broke
never
through the
shown
screen.
again. Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't see her again. I'm trying to think if I saw her in the crowd. Maybe she was in one of the people who got sliced up with the motorcycle
Oh, at the end,
katana
yeah.
blade thing.
Hmm.
Do you want to read the next one?
Oh, jeez. I can't
boy.
read from here. I need
Oh,
glasses.
geez. Here, do you want me?
The helicopter.
Yeah.
When the helicopter first crashes through the ceiling into the cinema, what is it? The casing around the base of the rotor blades is missing and broken off. But in the very next shot, it is in place and intact.
Very good.
Interesting.
Yeah. Interesting is right.
Wow.
I did not notice that. Let's see. In the scene where George and Cheryl have climbed onto the roof of the cinema, a shot across the city skyline shows that there is a crescent moon, and then in the final shot of the film, a full moon is visible in the sky on the right-hand side of the screen, and it's supposed to be the same night. So I didn't notice that, but hey,
Yeah.
that is an oopsie daisy.
Didn't I catch that? Okay.
Yeah.
When the helicopter crashes against the floor of the cinema, there's no dead pilot in it. But in the next shot, there's a body in the driver's.
And the passenger
Right? Was
seat.
there
Yeah,
2?
there was 2.
I remember you pointed that out. You're like, that wasn't there. And the
Mhm.
guy rips him out of the helicopter.
Yeah, when
right
it
after.
fell, there were no bodies,
There's
and then
no
when
body.
it shows the shot when they were getting close up, that's like hanging out of the thing. So yeah. So just after the young boy shoots the demonic Cheryl at the end, the Jeep begins to drive away into the dawn, and then one shot later, it's pitch black and there's no morning light.
Oh,
Damn.
yeah, I didn't catch that one.
Yeah, I didn't catch that either.
Which one are we?
We're on this one.
After the demon falls on Hannah from the balcony, he pukes slime all over her. But in the next scene, her clothes are clean. That doesn't make any sense.
That doesn't make any sense either. Let's see. The next one. When Cheryl is sitting in the subway car, she is holding her piano book. I'm not even going to begin to pronounce that. Microcosmos, right side up.
Yeah.
And then when she steps out of the car, oh, God, you can see it. Basically, the book turns into a bunch of different angles as she's holding it. So, yeah.
Well, that's, I don't know.
Whatever. That's nitpicky, I guess. But okay. All right.
You can read the last one.
There's a couple.
Oh, geez.
You want me to go over the rest of them?
Oh, man.
There's 4 more.
4 more. You got it.
I got it. All right. So crew and equipment that you can see when the girl is running from the masked man through the supposedly empty train station. You pointed this out, actually.
Yes.
You can see 2 men behind a pillar there. And then let's see. At the end scene during the motorcycle chase, Nina's demonic character is not wearing any demon makeup.
Really?
I didn't notice that either. I saw her like bouncing around, but yeah.
Bouncing around.
The blades of the helicopter wouldn't cut the demon's stomach because the propeller was was too high, and because it was too high, and then they were like down here and they were cutting their tummies. How would that work? But again, it just needed a cool excuse to fucking use a helicopter blade.
That's random helicopter.
And then when Cheryl transforms into the demon. And it goes close up. You could see her fake teeth, where her real. So we could see where the fake teeth begin. So
I didn't catch that.
I didn't catch that either. Huh. I should pay more attention.
Too much laughing.
Too much laughing at this, and we were making a lot of jokes at this movie because it's just so ridiculous. But it was it was great though. We had a really good time.
It was awesome.
So critical reviews. This movie, this is a kind of a weird thing. So depending on where you look, it either holds a 56% or a 60% on Rotten Tomatoes. I could not confirm either score because the wiki article that I pulled this from, the link was dead. So it just went to a 404 page. And then the 60% I got when you Google search Demons 1985. It says that the Rotten Tomatoes score is 60% on the little right-hand side of Google there when you're looking on your computer there. And then, like I said, Wikipedia says 56, but the link was broken, so I don't know. Who knows?
Who
it's
really
a
knows?
Mystery.
Dun, dun, dun.
I do know that Demons 2 had a 60% on Rotten Tomatoes, and that had a page. The movie critic Leonard Moulton gave the film 1.5 stars, criticizing the film's lack of characterization, logic, and plot.
Well, yeah.
Yep, I agree with you. The film was listed number 53 on the U.S. TV, the U.S. TV channel Bravo's 100 Scariest Movie Moments countdown.
Oh,
so yeah. Very good.
Sweet, bravo.
And then bravo. And then some other awards it won. It won in 1986. It won the Fantasia-Sporto, or was nominated for Best Film.
Cool.
In 1986 at Fantasia-Sporto.
Did it win?
No, it was nominated.
Oh, nominated
for International Fantasy Film Award.
Oh.
And then Golden Siak Awards in 1986 for Best Score.
Nice.
And it was a nominee for that too. So no awards.
It's all good. At least he got nominated.
Yeah,
that's
cool.
cool.
I mean, that's something. It's an honor just to be nominated.
True.
And
definitely.
just like, what's his face said from the podcast last weekend, from The Exorcist 3, the guy who played Patton, he didn't accept the award for Best Actor because he said every performance is its own individual thing. You can't compare them.
That is true.
To hell with awards and nominations. But no, I mean, nominee for Best Film and nominee for Best Score. And that's pretty awesome for a little horror film. So that's pretty cool.
Definitely.
So let's jump into our thoughts here. And so I've been going
10
first.
out of 10.
10 out of 10, Kyle. Let me guess, right? So while I was watching this movie, I guess I'll go first, but while I was watching it, I had a difficult time kind of determining if I loved it or I hated it. And it was conflicting at first because the horror schlock I love, the goriness, the campiness, the bad acting and all this stuff, I love it because it's just so ridiculous and so over the top.
Mm-hmm.
I love these types of movies. But
of course,
in terms of like it being a good film, obviously it's a little campy, but that's the purpose.
Yeah.
It wasn't supposed to be this serious thing. So like I can see where a critic like Leonard Maltin would be like, what the hell, this is garbage, you know?
Yeah.
So I understand why horror gets the shit on, or gets shit on so much by critics, because it's an interesting weird genre that doesn't really, it's not clearly defined, and it has several subcategories and little caveats that are you know, that appeal to different people. Like sometimes you and I like to watch like a really serious, crazy horror movie.
True.
And then sometimes we like, you know, we tend to go more for
Like
these
to laugh our ass
comedy,
off.
yeah, Return of the Living Dead and Demons and things like that, and Deathgasm all kind of play to those tropes. And those are some of my favorite movies. So in terms of what I loved about Demons, so obviously the gore, the
Oh, yeah.
soundtrack is perfect
It is
80s.
good,
The score is amazing. The acting is terribly bad, you
This is
know,
horrible.
and the characters are so one-dimensional, but they're so great. You know, my favorite character is Tony.
Of course.
Obviously,
you fell in
Tony.
love with Tony right away.
I did, and you know, he's such a badass in the whole. In his, obviously he gets it later on in the movie, but he's such a badass throughout, and he really takes charge, and he's like, you know, shoving people around and yelling at people. He's
Telling
like,
them,
he's a
"Hurry,
get
hurry."
shit done kind of guy.
Definitely.
And then, you know, he was right the whole time. He said, hey, let's throw this lady over the ledge.
Yeah.
And there, you know, you had the people who were, no, let's not. And then what happens? Dude gets bit and turned
Yeah.
into a demon. So
Should've-
always throw the body over the balcony.
Should've just done it
ladies and gentlemen.
himself.
He should have just done it himself.
I got this.
But again, there are these characters that you just love in these types of movies. Tony's one of them.
Mhm.
George is great.
Of course,
in this
at
movie.
the
Like,
end, George
he's such a
saves the
sissy through the
day.
whole movie.
Oh,
He
God.
won't cut the rope because it's got blood on the knife. He won't throw the body over the ledge because she's already dead. And
He's
you know,
hanging on the girl
he's
during the
hanging on
movie.
the girl during the horror
All
movie, trying to
scared.
hold her hand and stuff like that. And then by the end, he just becomes a total motorbike
Blade.
badass, but katana
Samurai
blade wielding
sword guy.
badass man, and he drives around that theater chopping people up. And so there are these moments where this film just really, I guess you could say, jumps the shark and gets crazy, but it makes it better. Like
Oh,
kind
yeah.
of like a Dead Alive. I don't know if you've ever saw that Peter Jackson movie before, but
I don't know.
it's again,
I
it
don't think
just like
so.
it keeps getting crazier and more
Just
ridiculous.
builds and builds.
It builds and builds
Definitely
until
builds.
this crescendo of gore and violence, and I love it for that. So I mean, honestly, I get where the critics come from for bashing the shit out of this movie. I get
Mhm.
why it has a 56% on Rotten Tomatoes. I get why it gets a 1.5 stars. But for me, I think this is the cream of the crop when it comes to like campy, over the top horror movies.
Yeah. Oh,
is
definitely.
it going to win any Academy Awards? No. Is it
No.
going to be considered one of those cult classics? Yeah, it definitely is.
I mean,
and
it's survived.
It's
to
stood
this
the test
day.
of time.
Yeah.
You know, the fact that the building that it was just the front of the building was filmed for the theater is you know, hosts horror conventions and stuff is
Yeah,
just
that's pretty cool.
speaks volumes about the power of these cult movies and how they get under your skin and you think about them. And I'll always look back at this Demons movie and laugh a little bit because it is just, it's so funny, it's so
Mhm.
over the top and so ridiculous. There's so many great characters. I mean, Rosemary when she turns
Oh,
into the
man.
demon is great.
She goes balls to the
Tony,
wall.
obviously, George, obviously. Everybody does such a awesome, terribly awesome job.
Terribly
I guess
awesome.
they play the part perfectly. It's supposed to be 80s cheesy, campy horror, and it is.
Yeah, definitely.
And for that, I would have to say I'm gonna go 9 out of 10 for Demons.
Whoa.
Whoa, I
9 out
know.
of 10.
9 out of 10.
Wow.
So,
Wow.
how about yourself?
Well, since this is definitely one of those campy horror films, I think
Mhm.
that's definitely a different category than The Exorcist or something more serious.
Yeah.
So I'd say 9 out of 10
Okay.
for all those. It's not quite there, but it's definitely got all of its great parts, like all the gore. I love that green, whatever,
the green
turquoise
slime that's
slime
just
coming
coming out
out.
of everybody's mouth.
Everybody's mouth. That's awesome. And all those, yeah, I mean, the one that sticks out was those teeth popping out.
Yeah, the ones that were
was
like,
crazy. I was thinking,
Yeah.
like, is somebody like behind there, like pushing those through to like, how are they making this happen? Just made the wheels spin in my brain.
yeah, I love that about practical effects because you
Yeah.
do look at that and you're, you know, and you do
Or-
like this was before computers and stuff. Like you see,
Yeah.
and we've talked about this before, where you see a badass scene now, and you're like, oh, cool, that was awesome CGI. But
Now it's like,
yeah,
I
you
mean,
watch these old movies,
even-
and you, like you said, you think like, how the fuck did they do that?
especially even towards the end when that one girl, what's her name? She got stabbed in the back, I think, and that demon comes out of her back.
Oh,
But she was
Kathy.
like, she was on her hands and knees, but then the demons come out of her back. So like, how are they doing this? Like,
and she's like
is
the
it-
skinniest thing on earth too.
Yeah.
This chick is like
a
this
full
thin,
body
and this
demon
full
comes out,
chubby little demon thing
and then it
comes
scurries away
crawling
in the
out.
curtains.
Like he's been
It's
like
where
hanging
the
out
fuck-
down there.
Where did that guy come from? Out of her back?
Why didn't the other
So-
ones spout demons from their back? Why
Right?
her? I don't know.
Things
It's
like that.
craziness.
That's what made it definitely the ranking go higher because
Mhm.
like this crazy gore shots they were great.
Yeah, they were. They really were.
They were really
And
good.
we were commenting on how good this version of the film we
Oh, yeah, how
watched was.
clear
Like
it was,
was
yeah.
like
HD quality or
yeah, it
whatever
was
quality that was.
It was amazing. I mean, yeah, it was definitely the 1080p high def,
Yeah.
and it just like it just shows you how like a well shot movie like can stand the test of time. Like
Mhm.
even your wife mentioned like, wow,
Yeah.
it's beautifully shot. Like, and it is, and it looks great. Like
It's
that,
clear.
it was
clean.
you know it was like almost perfect in the way that it can like just kind of fit any I don't know any style.
Mhm.
It just worked really well with this movie, and I just enjoyed that aspect of it. The cinematography was great, and just how good the version looked. I can't get over it. Honestly, it was just spectacular.
Bravo. And of course the music was great. Like I think that's definitely helped the ranking of 9 out of 10. So
The music,
Yeah.
the music, the gore, the cheesy acting.
I mean, even in the beginning, I saw Val kind of dance into the music, and I was like, "Yeah, this is some great
It is.
synth
It-
80s
80s
movie
schlock.
Like,
I love it.
It was it was cool.
Awesome.
It was cool.
So yeah,
So-
that is Demons, the Italian horror movie
Demons
Demons.
won.
So go check it out
Check it
on. We watched it on Shudder. If you have
We've
Shudder,
got-
go check it out.
We've got 2 comments here.
We got
on
2
live.
comments?
There's 3 people watching us.
Oh, cool.
One is your wife. Oh, coordinating outfits.
Oh, yeah,
we get the blue.
we called
We
each
got
other
the blue.
beforehand. And is anyone commenting on how I butchered that whole thing about the cinematography?
No.
And
Someone-
that's all, folks.
Someone just agreed with your wife, saying, "Yeah, I was going to say that too." With
We're wearing
our
the same
coordinating
thing.
outfits, so
People on the podcast
They can't
listening on
see
Podbean
us.
are going to be like, what the hell are they talking
they got
about?
to tune in every Monday. Then
You got to tune in to Facebook Live every Monday.
Yes, we
at
tried-
9:15ish.
we tried 9:15, but it was 9:30.
9:30. We're all right.
We're trying to get it down
We are.
with better timing, but yeah, it's the first time.
So yes. Either way, we're getting off topic yet again. Demons. Check it out on Shudder.
Check it out.
9 out of 10 from Zach.
9 out of 10 from Kyle.
Excellent. Go
social
check it out.
media. Go check us out. Social media.
Oh yes, go check us out on social media. High Horror Society on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, Pinterest.
Instagram.
I don't know
Pinterest.
what we're on.
We got recipes up.
We got
Pinterest. No, just
recipes.
joking.
High Horror Society recipes. Jesus, my headphones are falling off.
Podbean, iTunes,
Oh,
all that stuff.
Podbean and iTunes and Spotify.
I mean, we got to be
definitely.
streaming. Yeah.
Actually, listen to the podcast. It would be nice if people listen.
Yeah, because we can see the stats and the counts
It's
go
fun.
up. So
And talk to us. We're
Please-
always here.
please talk to us.
Just we're bored and lonely.
Yeah, we like to talk about horror movies and music. So
Yeah,
and
let's do it.
They go together.
Start a conversation.
Yes.
Awesome.
Cool.
Thanks, guys. Have a good night.
Peace.
Bye. Sweetness.
Excellent. Yeah, it was about half an hour.
Mm-hmm.